this issue we're taking for granted is one that is very, very dangerous. It is dangerous because what it means is that for all of us who are inside the political space, you need to be exceedingly worried. Because anybody, any day, any minister of justice at any point in time, just by disliking you, can put things together and get you to go to court. And if care is not taken, you'll be jailed for nothing.
What would make the AG dislike Honorable Atuforsen?
If you listen to the conversations that Jakpa rose, Jakpa indicated that when they met, Attorney General had indicated to him that there is pressure from the finance minister and Akufo-Addo to make sure that Atuforsen goes to jail.
So he was still
under pressure.
Exactly.
Exactly. This is what Jakpa said. And so far, the voices of Jakpa and the Attorney General in the conversation, and the Attorney General till today has not disputed that. You know, I feel like the Attorney General is a coward. Okay, anybody that would use dubious means to get what they want are cowards. Anybody who cannot face reality is a coward. He's basically just a coward. You know, to the extent that even when he was filing his affidavit, he couldn't sign it because he wasn't comfortable sitting inside the dark. So he made his deputy actually sign his affidavit. So from all angles, what we're saying is that what went on is totally unacceptable and we don't back it. Again, Philosopher Sukwachi raised an issue and I doffed my heart for him. He said, look, if there's anybody who has to go to jail, it is the Attorney General. Why? You sit down. Big C comes to you, says, we are willing to pay you money. You refuse to collect the money. The ambulances were brought into this country. Equipments were shipped into the country. Those equipments have been lying in the port for almost 7 years. Finally, what we have found out is that even the container that brought the equipments have been cleared from inside the container. Those containers are back in China being used, and people are actually back in Dubai being used, you know, basically. We don't know, as we sit here between me and you, where those equipments are. You have not installed those equipments inside the ambulances. You have left the ambulances to rot for 7 years. If the NDC comes to government, and we go and we check those ambulances, and we're not able to find those equipments, who has to go to jail? It doesn't make any sense. In conclusion...
It will be the same accountability path.
No, listen. Accountability path on the fact
the same accountability path that the AG is fighting.
Yes. No. What we're saying is that on any day, if the Attorney General is right and has a case, and he goes to court, and there are merits of the case, why not? Under the NDC. Someone raised the issue of corruption. My brother raised the issue of corruption.
Yeah.
And I get worried when people who are disappointed try as much as possible to equate the NDC to the MPP. KMJ, look, our worst CPI in corruption continues to be their best. Our worst. Do you know why? Because you see, corruption in itself can only be eliminated when you're seen fighting corruption. So what happened during the time of NDC? I keep telling you that John Dramani Mahama is the one person who actually tried to solve corruption from the intention stage. Remember what happened with Victoria Hammer? She thought, she was just thinking. He said, go and sit at home. Remember Jifatiwo? Abu Gapele?
Yeah.
You know, so when he was actually seen fighting corruption, the assumption is that, you know, he's corrupt. How is it that someone who is sacking his ministers and telling them to go and sit in their house, someone who is asking his ministers to come back and pay to the state monies that had gone to places that he felt was unacceptable? How is that? John Dramani Mahama never at any point in time intervened with the Minister of Justice at any point in time or the Attorney General at any point in time on any case that had gone to court. Look at these ambulances, KMG, Mercedes-Benz. They've been lying down for 7 years. So look at the Ponzi scheme Quick Kwatin keeps talking about. You come into government, there's a contract to supply this number of ambulances, which would have gone to actually solve the issue of one constituency, one ambulance. One constituency, one ambulance. The president comes into power, together with his people, the Attorney General and everybody. They decide that, oh, this contract, look at it. It looks very lucrative. We can actually make some money. Let's drop this case. Let's hold Atuforsen for it. Let's now sign a new contract and bring in our own ambulances. Then you leave this online now. It doesn't make any sense. And now you're awarding $34.9 million for servicing and spare parts. Alan Kyerematen, look, I try as much as possible to avoid any conversation of Alan. But I keep telling my people from the Afafanto, listen, you guys are coming from a group of people who have basically tortured us for 7 years. Certainly, when you want to speak about a former president, have a little bit of respect for the former president. Because the things that you said, including Alan, about John Dramani Mahama, I am excited to hear my brother sit here today and say that the worst government ever is the Nana Akufo-Addo's government. But some years back, that was not what you were saying. You said John Dramani Mahama was that one person that didn't even need, that opportunity. This is what you're saying. And you can still sit here, even after concluding that John Dramani Mahama obviously didn't do what this government is currently doing. Didn't do what Bawumia is currently doing. Alan sat in that team in cabinet, my brother, for 7 years. Alan was part of that team for 7 years. We were being murdered, we were being killed, our monies were being looted, Paul Lugu was going on, Skytrain was going on. Alan was sitting, he was watching 7 years. He wants to lead us, he wants to help us. He was sitting for 7 years. At least, if not for anything at all, I saw Kennedy Japan constantly speaking. Kennedy will speak and tell you, no, this is wrong, this is unacceptable, don't do this. Alan had never had a voice throughout this entire process until he lost elections. And then you want to come to us now and come and say you care? You care about who? About who?
But
so
does
I didn't
override his individual contribution to the government.
No,
which
it doesn't.
Of course is clear for us to see.
KMJ, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. What is the use of one district, one factory? What was the purpose of one district, one factory, and then one village, one dam, and one, and all of that? What was the essence? You do that because you want to come up with something that is called an import substitution.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? You're doing that because you want to be able to stabilize your city. So you say, let's look at it. I give you a typical example of cassava the last time. So the government MPP comes and, throws all that thing. We'll do one district, one factory. When you're able to do that, you're reducing the amount of things that you're actually importing to the country. So you want to use your own locally. And if you don't have to import, what it means is that you don't have to gather the dollars that is inside the system, throw it out there in order to bring those things. And when you have enough dollars in the system, the city is basically stabilized. The more you collect the dollars in the system and you keep pushing it out because you need things from outside there, the scarce the dollar becomes. And when the dollar is scarce, it becomes expensive and then your city depreciates. What has one district, one factory, managed by Alan, over the last 7 years done to your dollar? You can make all the noise. You can tout it. You can say, so all the companies that are in the country currently, who are producing vehicles in the country today, that my brother wants to make noise about, I am asking him, how many Ghanaians walk into a car manufacturing company and buy a Kyerematen vehicle and use it? How many?
Maybe it has to do with the execution.
I'm saying
implementation of it.
KMJ,
I am probably bring the idea on board. It might look good as an idea. But whoever that is implementing it, because I'm sure he didn't have to really be part of the implementation based on what he felt was happening at the time.
KMJ.
And then decided that I can't be part of this anymore.
No problem. KMJ, I am saying that. He says that entire thing was Alan's plan. I am telling you that if there is anything that could have been done, there are other things and other areas that he could have looked at. Of course, these car manufacturing companies are giving jobs to Ghanaians who are around to get jobs and all of that. But I am telling him that the actual essence for why Alan was placed in the trade ministry was to be able to give Ghana some form of stability with a one district, one factory. We wanted to have some stability with our city depreciation. We wanted to have stability. I am saying that Alan supervising that ministry with everything that was given to him according to the presidency. They are saying that they gave him all the support, they gave him everything that he needed for him to be able to operate effectively. I am saying, what has been the effect of that one district, one factory? Alan championed, for which Nana Addo said, come and take the seat. What has been the effect of that when your dollar is at 16 Ghana cedis? John Dramani Mahama didn't do one district, one factory. But he did things that were beautiful. Did you know that just by bringing something like that to Atuabo gas processing plant, we didn't have to spend all that money that we use to import certain gas that we bought in the system to use for our generators. We didn't have to do that. You're saving those dollars. When John Dramani Mahama decided to do import substitution, what he did was to target the pharmaceutical companies and say, look, come and take these monies. Produce certain drugs that we import. If you can produce them here, we don't have to import. What it does is that he's keeping dollar in your system. This is what we're talking about, import substitution. What have you done? So when you sit here and you come and talk about Alan and then you make all that noise, my question is that Alan sat down, watched us ripped off for 7 years and only walked out when what he desired, he didn't get. If he had won, he wouldn't walk out.